Wow, wow, wow. This video footage of police grilling Jenn Soto is absolutely insane and a little bit hard to watch. But let's just say they are giving it to her straight in this interview, or I would rather call it like an interview/interrogation. And if you're not caught up with the whole Madeline Soto case, I suggest you go down to my description. I will link a playlist for you down there so you can get all caught up on this situation and then return to this video. Otherwise, you might feel a little bit lost. And I know a lot of new interviews have surfaced and have come out, but to be honest with you, I like to take my time and really think about these things before I come on and say a lot about it. And also, I believe that a lot of the older interviews are actually more insightful than some of the new ones. But there are a few new ones that have come out, especially the one with the ex-stepdad and Maddie's biological dad, that I definitely want to cover and talk to you about. But for now, we are doing this interview that took place on the 1st of March, which was actually the day that they found Maddie's body. But it was actually before they found it, about an hour or so before that. So just keep that in mind. And also that while Jenn is in this interview, at this point, she knew about the SA. Police had already shown her the photos of what Stefan Stearns was doing to beautiful little Maddie. And she also knew that police suspected that he had ended Maddie's life. So just keep that in mind while we go through this interview. That will give you a better understanding of when I react to things the way that I do. But before we dive in, hello everyone and welcome to Crime Rush. I'm Inga and I'm so happy that you clicked on this video. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe and also like this video to help me out. Please note that this video is intended for mature audiences only, and also that I get all my information from public sources. You can very easily do the same and form your own opinions. Also, a big thank you to Gray Hughes Investigation, which is where I got to listen to this footage and the reason why I'm able to do this video. Thanks to him and all the effort he puts into covering this case and all the awareness that he brings to it. So I'm going to do the same as I did in my previous video where we discussed the audio of Jenn Soto's interview with police. And that's just where I take parts of the interview that I found most interesting and most insightful. I share them with you and we talk about it and just sort of brainstorm about it together. So without further ado, let's jump into that first clip.
At my house around 8:30 that night. I wasn't home. She got dropped off alone. About 10 to 15 minutes later, Stefan showed up.
At your house in Kissimmee?
At my house in Kissimmee, he called me. Or he texted me, I don't remember. But he let me know he was there and that she was getting ready for bed. She was doing her routine. So she took her nighttime meds and she got in the shower to get ready for bed.
Okay, so Jenn here is talking about the 25th of February, which was actually the day of Maddie's 13th birthday. And she said after the party, her sister actually dropped Maddie off at home. And 15 minutes after she was dropped off at home, Stefan arrived there, okay? And she knew that because Stefan actually texted her and said he arrived there and he was home with Maddie, which when I think about it is quite suspicious and impeccable timing on his part, okay? So now he has another opportunity to be alone with Maddie. And the part that really infuriates me as well is the fact that he was there when Maddie had to take her nighttime meds. Now listen, I think we discussed this in my previous video in the comments section, and we were talking about how is it normal for someone else to be present when your child takes medication, okay? That definitely is not a normal thing in my household. If my son is taking any medication, it's in front of me or my husband, who is his biological father, okay? So for me, especially the type of meds that Maddie was taking, it's not just a headache tablet. It's some serious meds. So you would think that you wouldn't allow anyone else other than you, the parent, to be present when the child is taking these medications. Because, of course, this was now just another opportunity, not only for Stefan to be alone with her, but to either double dose her or to give her something else.
I don't like her taking her meds without somebody visually seeing, watching her, because I don't want her to accidentally grab the wrong pill. She's comfortable enough to grab the pill while, but I'm like, no, I need to watch you take them.
Has there ever been an issue with that in the past, where she took too many or took the wrong thing? Or
Yeah.
just like a thought in your mind?
No, just a thought in my mind, just me being hypervigilant. I want to physically watch her take her meds and watch her grab 2, take them. I don't ever want there to be an accident of she took too many, or she took, my biggest fear is that she would take Adderall by accident, her daytime meds.
Got it.
Your biggest fear should have been Stefan being alone with her and Stefan giving her other meds, okay? Here she says she's hypervigilant and she wants someone to be present when Maddie takes her meds, okay? The only one that should have been present when Maddie took her meds was Jenn, or maybe her biological father. Definitely not Stefan. And I'm sorry to say this, and I hate to come down on any mom. I don't want to just judge mothers, or it's a tough job, okay? But this is a bit different, okay? Because I consider myself to be hypervigilant. And I think I can get quite annoying sometimes because I'm always trying to think ahead. I'm always trying to think of things that could happen. And I just want to protect my son. I don't want to live in fear, but it's really hard to find that balance. I'm definitely hypervigilant, as she calls it. But just by judging her actions that we know of, that really is not giving off hypervigilant vibes. In fact, that's giving off neglect.
I realized I forgot to take my meds, and I said, you guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds. I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep. Suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed, and she typically sleeps on one side, and she'll end up on my side when we wake up.
Okay.
So I asked her, I'm like, no, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep.
She sent them off to bed. She sent Maddie to her death, whether she knew it or not. That's what she did. The worst part about all of that to me is that she says that Maddie actually asked her if she could rather sleep in her bed, in Jenn's bed, her mom's bed. And she said no, she needed to go and sleep in Stefan's bed because she wanted to have a good night's sleep. That just breaks my heart because Maddie didn't want to go and sleep in his room to begin with. And again, she's talking about how Maddie would be rolling around when she's sleeping in bed. Being hypervigilant, wouldn't you worry about her rolling on top of Stefan? I mean, that's where my mind went when I heard that.
For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school. But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark. And I was very sleepy. When I got up, I was kind of drunk. But he came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
Was the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Yeah, the causation of him
Okay.
putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate if you put the leash on him too directly. You have to like be nice and talk to him. He's very he's a nervous dog, yeah. So
Okay, now this next one, it's really not important, but I couldn't help myself because I've heard this part of the dog so many times now, and this dog's like nervous and you have to talk to it nicely, and I couldn't help but laugh because I'm just thinking that poor dog. I mean, it sounds to me he's got his own issues and he needs some anxiety meds of his own. And I don't really blame the dog for peeing when he sees Stefan approaching with a leash. I mean, if I had to see that ugly thing walking towards me with a leash, I'd probably pee myself too.
Is that a birthday?
my birthday.
It's your birthday?
Yeah.
My birthday's tomorrow. Right.
Today's the first.
So here we see emotion from Jenn, and we've heard it before on the audio, but here we can actually see it. But she really does choose the strangest times to show it. Because here the detective mentions it's her birthday the next day, and that sort of triggers her, I guess, because this would be her first birthday without Maddie. And I really get it, but when you compare it to how serious some parts of the conversations get, you would think she would rather cry in those moments than in this one. So sometimes I just think it's the strangest moments that she shows the emotion. And look, I have to say this loud and clear. Police have come forward and they said that they have found no evidence linking Jenn to any of this. They cannot prove that she had any involvement. And we have to look at the facts. We have to try and be objective here. But I'm just telling you what that looks like to me. And it is strange, but I also know that people do strange things when they grieve or when they are in shock. And no, I'm not sticking up for her, so calm down. I think I've made it pretty clear that I'm not the biggest fan of the way she has done things. But I also have to add what the police have said, and I also realize that they know a lot more than we do, so I have to take that into consideration as well. And I know the footage is a bit laggy in the sense that it's not matching up perfectly, the sound and the movements and all of that, but when you look closely, you can see that she really is crying. There are real tears there, and her face is all puffy, so that really does look real to me. But I will just say once again, just the times that she chooses to show emotions, the things that trigger her are just a bit strange to me.
He told me while he was gone that he got a flat tire somewhere on 182. The wheel just shredded and fell apart. So he was changing the tire, and it took him a really long time to do it. He said he hurt his thumb while changing the tire, like the frame or something slipped and something pinched his finger, and he ended up having to yank it out. And he said he hurt his finger.
Now, I have a question with this one. Do you think he really got a flat tire, or do you think that he slashed his own tire to maybe make an excuse for the wounds that he had on his hands? And the thing that I was thinking was maybe when he went to dispose of the body, I feel bad even saying that, but when he did that, he tried to go off-road because we know it was in quite a wooded area. Maybe he wanted to get closer to the place because he was scared he was going to be spotted by someone. And when he did that and maybe tried to go off-road with a car, something slashed his tire. Or he did it to, make an excuse for the wounds that he had on his hands. But I'm leaning more towards the first theory of mine, because if he had slashed his tire, he probably wouldn't have done it so close to the place where he left Maddie. But I don't know. Let me know what you think about that, but that's something I was wondering.
He told me he was going to go out cruising that night to go look for her. And I said, I even questioned that. I asked him, are you sure it's a good idea? You should probably sit tight. Let's just wait to see if she comes home. And he said he was going to take a drive out. I had completely forgotten about him wanting to take the drive, or that he actually did it. And it wasn't confirmed to me until the following day, where agents came to the house and we sat in the car for a good amount of time. And I noticed the chair was adjusted. And I said, did you drive my car? And he said, yeah, remember I said I was going out last night. That's right, you did say that.
Can he tell you where he looked?
I think he said up and down 192. And I said, why there? And he's like, I don't know, I'm just looking. I was just trying to look anywhere. And I'm just like, okay.
The reason I want to talk about this clip is because it really made me wonder, what did he go and do when he was out looking? Because we all know he wasn't looking for her. He knew where she was. But what was he doing? Did he possibly have more evidence on him that he needed to get rid of? Or what do you think he was doing in that time that he said he went out and looked for Maddie?
And he ugly cried in front of the camera too, so he was fucking fake sob crying.
Are you saying that now, or do you?
I'm saying that now. I didn't
Okay.
think that at the time. At the time, I thought he was truly heartbroken and not that he had done all this shit to her.
Here, Jenn is talking about the interview that Stefan did with Channel 9. And I'm going to play that whole interview for you now. It's not very long. And I want you to see it with your own eyes, because Jenn is saying that Stefan ugly cried in this interview. So please pay attention to this quickly.
All right, the first question is if I can get your first and last name and spell them both out for me.
Stefan Stearns, Stephan Stearns.
All right, so Stefan, you seem very emotional right now. Explain to us.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away. It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that y'all had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said thanks, love you too. That was it.
And so where do you think she could possibly be? I mean, this isn't, as I was told, this isn't normal behavior.
This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she can be. And we're scared. We just want her home.
Are you, in a sense, blaming yourself?
It's hard not to.
Why?
I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. It's hard not to blame myself.
What has the conversation been with Jenn since?
She's been a lot stronger than me. She's been holding it together really well, but it just keeps coming in waves. Just the reality keeps hitting. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just want her home.
Have you, like, literally put boots on the ground, went out?
Yeah, I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off, and we looked all up and down the road, all along the communities, and there was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on, and that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage, and not much else.
Does it seem like she walked west, east?
They said in the direction of the school. I'm not sure what that is.
What was the language? Not language verbally, body language. When you dropped her off, did she seem happy? Was she like, I'm going to meet my friends?
Happy. She had a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here, and she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. She brings a lot of joy to us, and we just not knowing.
So the unknown is killing you.
Yeah, it's like our whole world is upside down. Not feeling her presence here is... Sorry. It's hard.
Oh no, you're fine. No need to apologize. What do you want our viewers to know when they see this?
She's a sweetheart. She's a very sweet, kind girl. Just please be nice to her. Bring her home if you find her. Tell her that we love her. Wherever she is, I hope she's okay.
I mean, if someone were to come in contact with her and you gave me her diagnoses, would it be easy to approach her without any like agitation or anything?
Yeah. She's a good kid. She's a good kid.
If you can sum up in one complete sentence, waking up, getting ready to drop her off at school, dropping her off at school, to now speaking to me after talking to the police about her being missing for over 24 hours right now. In one complete sentence, what would that be?
A living nightmare. It's a living nightmare. Day started off like any other, and I just want to wake up and just get hit with waves of the reality just it's setting in. As soon as it got dark last night, we started falling apart because we knew it wasn't going to come to an end. And now we're going on 24 hours and still nothing. Just conflicting reports here and there. People say they see this or that. None of it's conclusive and none of it's helpful. We just want a baby girl back.
Tom, any questions?
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
Firstly, it just rubs me the wrong way when he talks about Maddie. The part where he goes, we just want our little girl back. I mean, that wasn't your little girl, okay? That wasn't your little girl. Don't even talk about it. He makes me so mad. I don't even want to see his face. But the main point I want to make about that interview was that I didn't see him ugly cry, as Jenn said. I could see his eyes were watery, but if you look closely, there are no tears. He at one point takes a tissue and wipes away nothing because there are no tears. He is not crying. He's definitely not ugly crying. And this just once again looks like Jenn sticking up for him, trying to just push in these little untruths to make it look like he really cared for Maddie. And let me remind you, this is after she was shown those horrible photos, okay? So she already knew at this point in the interview what he did to Maddie. Please let me know if you saw a tear or if you think he was really crying or ugly crying, as she said, because I most definitely don't think that.
Like, I look back at shit now and just like, he was fucking lying. He was fucking faking. What else has he been lying to me about? I know he's like a master liar and manipulator because he's done it to his parents and he's told me and shown me the lies he's done to his parents. But I don't know why I never thought, not me.
The lies are about money. They're about where he's at, what he's doing. What's he?
Yeah, all that.
To his parents.
Yeah, he's stolen money from his parents. They used to have a few $1,000s hidden in like a closet for emergency fund kind of thing. And during COVID, he stole, like, he wanted RC cars. See, if he wants something, he's gonna get it. No matter what. So, he wanted RC vehicles, the remote control cars.
If he wants something, he's gonna get it no matter what. That is what Jenn just said about Stefan Stearns. And I feel like she's just listing the red flags that she missed. You know, she's not making this any better. And let me just say this, that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. If you see someone habitually lying to people in front of you, you can expect that person to lie to you. If you see someone gossiping about other people to you, you can expect that person to gossip about you. I mean, that's just an basic understanding of human nature. Don't ever think that that person will never do it to you or that you are the exception. That's never how it works. And she even says that she never thought that he would hurt Maddie. But you are listing red flags as we go. I mean, how does any of this make sense?
Orange County detectives came out there because I ended up coming out Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember seeing me or not that night.
Okay.
That was the first night we were at the apartment into the nighttime.
Yeah, is that when you guys shut down the house for forensics?
Yes.
Okay. So
Tell us about that.
Okay. So earlier that day, I think Detective Hunt came, or somebody came, and asked Stefan for his cell phone. If he would willingly give it up so that they can look at it, or if they would need a warrant. And I remember him saying, should I have asked a warrant? Should I have... And I'm like, no, if you've got nothing to hide, give him your phone. And I think we hung out in the house for a little bit, and then when you guys came in the evening, and you guys told us to wait outside, and we waited in my car, he started getting very anxious and very panicky, going, I want my phone back. I want my phone back. And I said, listen, at this point, it's their phone. It's theirs for ever. I don't give a shit. We will buy you a new phone. It doesn't matter anymore. Whatever they need. Like, let them look at it. And he's like, I just want my phone back. And I'm just like, are you trying to make yourself more suspicious? Because, like, if you were to go demand your phone back right now, that would look suspicious as like, what are you doing?
And finally, I'm like, yes, Jen, this is the type of reaction I've been expecting all along and more frequently from you. I mean, this is the right type of reaction. This is going in the right direction. And when she's talking about this and she's talking about Stefan saying that he was like, should he maybe let them get a warrant before he gives them his phone? I mean, I want you to take a second here quickly, please, and just imagine, just for a moment, that your child is missing. And I pray to God that that never happens to any of us, because it's a nightmare. It's horrible. But just imagine for a moment your child is missing, or a child that is close to you. Your only thought in life would be to get that child back, to do anything to get that child back. You would give your phone. I would give all the clothes I own, the house, whatever you need, take it. Just whatever you need to find my child or the child that is missing, take it and please use it. The fact that he even asked the mother of the missing child, should I let them get a warrant before they take my phone? I mean, that is probably one of the biggest clues he gave her right there, because what normal person who was close to this child would not go, please take my phone? But I know what he was thinking. He was getting worried because he knew that there was a big possibility that police could find the disgusting images and videos that he had on his phone, even though he did that factory reset on purpose, not accidentally, like he claimed, okay? And then he still turns to the mother of the missing child and says, maybe they should get a warrant first. And for once, I can agree with her reaction here. Like, no, like, give the phone. If they need the phone, give them the phone. Why not? And there she should have noticed that something's up with this guy. This is suspicious as hell. Like, who would do that? You know, that should have been a massive clue. Then still, while they're waiting in the car, he starts freaking out, saying that he wants his phone. He says, oh, it's because he needs to check packages. He needs to check his emails or whatever. I mean, massive clue once again. I mean, if there's just a little bit of suspicion on someone and my child is missing, oh my gosh, I wouldn't want that guy near me.
He's constantly buying stuff and he doesn't have money. He keeps saying he's got money in his savings, but me and his dad call bullshit, because he hasn't had, when he lived with us, he was struggling. His dad was helping him pay his bills, paying his rent, paying his gas, paying his insurance. Stefan was helping us, supporting us by buying food and all that stuff. But I don't know what he did with the rest of his money. And I don't know where he's getting money from now.
Now, a big trigger warning for my opinion on this clip, because it gets a bit dark. But it is my belief that he's getting the money from selling these horrible images of Jenn's daughter Maddie to other sick predators like himself. That's probably where he's getting the money. And this, parents, is a wake-up call for each and every one of us. There are people like this among us right now. I'm not talking about in your house. I'm not saying that. For some of us, that might be true. But we need to be extremely careful. You need to be careful with sleepovers. And we need to remember that people who normally do this are people that you would never suspect. And funnily enough, in this case, Stefan seems to be someone that I would actually suspect. He's a giant man baby who can't keep a job, has too much time on his hands. Everything about him screams red flag, and I would be suspicious of hell of him. Definitely not someone that I would allow to babysit my child or spend time alone with my child. That I can tell you just from what we knew about him before, or take away the SA and all the really, really bad things we know about him. Just his lifestyle and how he lived his life, that would make me uncomfortable.
I remember late in the when you guys let us know we couldn't come back, and they called his dad, or we called his dad. I started saying to him, like, I think they're focusing in on you. Like, we need to call your dad, and I think we need to get you a lawyer. I feel like they're focusing on the wrong person. And he kept saying the same thing. He kept repeating what I was repeating. That they're focusing on the wrong person. They're wasting time.
Here she's talking about the 27th of February, which is a day after they reported Maddie missing, and where the police are in her townhouse, they are investigating, they are gathering evidence. And she said at this point she felt like they were really starting to focus on Stefan. And she felt like they were focusing on the wrong person, that there was someone else out there that might have had Maddie, and they were wasting time focusing on Stefan. But she suggests that he gets a lawyer, okay? And in my mind, I'm thinking, if this guy is innocent, in my mind, I would not suggest that he gets a lawyer. I would probably ask him, like, please, can you not go in there, offer your phone to them, and offer to do a lie detector, anything so they can just rule you out quickly and move on to the next person and find my daughter as soon as possible. Am I wrong in thinking that way? Would your first suggestion be get a lawyer if you really believe the person is innocent? And for the next clip that we are going to play, we are still going to be talking about the 27th when police are busy in the townhouse and they couldn't actually go back in and sleep in the house. And because she couldn't afford it and Stefan couldn't afford it, they had to phone Stefan's dad, Chris, and ask him to help them with a hotel room. And the three of them, which is Jenn, Chris, and Stefan, went to sleep in this hotel. But now on the 28th, Stefan does something very strange. Listen to this.
And Stefan's not there. And I remember thinking, he left again without his phone and didn't tell anyone where he was going. That's suspicious as fuck again. Why is he trying to...
Well, we took his phone, so he got a new phone?
He didn't get the new phone until later that day, where his dad woke up, came to our hotel room, and then handed him a phone.
Okay.
And said, here, have this phone in the meantime until you get your old phone back.
So you're just saying he's out and about with no phone?
Yeah, he's out and about with no phone, so there's no way for us to contact him. There's no way for us to... I didn't know if he even knew how to get back to the hotel. Because I drove that night. He's a little oblivious to when it comes to directions. So I'm just like, he didn't even figure out how to get here. But he rolled in around 11:15. Rolled in with a cup of Wawa. And said, oh, I'm so sorry, I was just driving around. I grabbed some Wawa on 182 and got lost. I didn't know how to get back to the hotel. But I'm here now. And I'm just like, detectives are about to show up. What the f*** would have happened if they showed up and you weren't here? Like, you would have been a fugitive. Like, what are you doing? And he was just apologetic about not telling anyone where he went.
But you know, I mean, he had a Wawa cup and he said he was up at 192.
Yeah, but in reality, I know that he truly took my car in the middle of the night to Northport, Florida, and was down there for an hour and came back. I didn't suspect that at all.
Okay.
So I need your help with this one because I cannot figure it out, and I feel like it's really significant to the case. Stefan drove from Kissimmee in the early hour mornings of the 28th to Northport, and according to Google, that's a 2 hour and 55 minute drive. Okay, so he drove from Kissimmee to Northport, which by the way is where his parents live, but his dad was in that moment in Kissimmee because he got the hotel with them. So Stefan drove to Northport, 2 hours and 55 minutes there. He spent an hour there doing I don't know what, and then came back. So if you add all of that together, that's a total of 7 hours that he was gone. Okay, what was he doing in Northport? That's what I would like to know. I do have one theory. I don't know if it is that, but it's the only thing I could come up with. So I'd love to hear your ideas. But I was thinking maybe he went back to Northport because he knew his dad was there and only his mom was at home. So maybe he wanted to break into the house, because if you think back to the parents' interview, his mom said that morning the dogs were barking like crazy and woke her up, and she went to check with a flashlight and she couldn't see anything and she just left it. But what if he tried to get into the house? Because I know Jenn said that his dad they know the dad stashes cash in his room or something like that. So maybe he wanted to break in and get the cash and go on the run, because I think he knew at this point that everything was going to come down on him soon. But that's just speculation. I can't seem to figure that one out, and it really, really bothers me for some reason. So if you can help me out, if you have a better idea, please leave it down in the comments. I'd really appreciate it.
I would have said a normal relationship. I asked, she would tell me. I didn't think she was hiding anything from me. I didn't think she was lying to me about anything, but obviously she had secrets.
I mean, the hindsight, all the stuff you found out over the past couple of days, we're taking that out of the picture, your relationship with her.
Okay.
Like, not looking back saying, okay, I was being lied to. Like, up until you found out some things that you've been told, you guys had an open communication relationship. You talk about
everything.
Life.
Yeah. If anything, she was a little bit more open with Stefan, because she told him about a boy she had a crush on.
Okay.
And that his name was, and she described him, and Stefan's like, "Are you aware that she has a crush on a boy?" I said, "No." He's like, "Yeah, she told me his name, that he's tall, and that she likes his fluffy hair."
Talking about the crushes, Jenn says that Maddie always tells Stefan about her crushes and not her. And I'm starting to wonder if this wasn't maybe Maddie's way of trying to put Stefan off, to maybe try and tell him that that was where her interests were and that they were not with him. It's such a sad, sad thought, and I hate to even say it, but I'm just wondering if this poor girl wasn't trying to find her way out of this mess.
It's weird to me. She's got a bedroom downstairs. What's kind of the mindset or the thought process, the communication you've had with Stefan about, she's not going to sleep in her bed, but you guys are going to go sleep in the guest bedroom?
So, originally, the plan was that all three of us were going to sleep in my bed together.
And I'm not just saying Sunday, I mean like...
Oh, okay.
In the past too.
So, I had a rule. She wasn't allowed to sleep in his bedroom at all. Like, no sleepovers, no nothing. For a very long time. For years.
Since we're pausing,
yeah.
What brought that on? Was that like a request of his, like, can we sleep in the same bed, request of hers, or you just saying...
Me being super paranoid, not to trust anyone. For the longest life, even though he treated her well, I still looked at him on, like side-eye, like making sure, like, is that normal? Is this, okay, that looks normal, okay. I wanted to make sure that nothing was happening and that I was missing something, but I was. But, he never requested... I'm sorry, repeat the question then.
So I guess when you said, like, you had a rule, like, obviously we know now they've, slept in the same bedroom together and everything else. I'm sure you're questioning a lot of things that, like, you haven't been told or that are going on. The thought process of them sleeping in the same bedroom caused you to say that you had a rule for the longest time where they couldn't.
Yeah.
I have a son. He's a lot younger than her. He's 4. But I guess if I was dating somebody or had somebody over, I would never establish, and this is just me, a rule. He can't sleep in the bed with her, or she's not going to be. It wouldn't even be a thought process for me, so that's why I asked, because I wouldn't think of it even as an option.
Yeah.
So when you say you had a rule, I guess I'm asking what prompted the rule?
Sleepovers before. Yeah. Late, you want to watch movies and eat snacks. Can we do that? I'm like, no. We can all watch movies down here together. We can all sleep down here together. Up until June, together all the time. So we were always, she would sleep in the middle, I would sleep on this side, he would sleep on the other side. It wasn't until June that he got his own bedroom and I sent him upstairs. That's where the requests for sleepover started.
Okay.
And I kept telling her, no. I'm not comfortable with that. But eventually at some point, like, we really want to watch, I forgot what movie it was. They really wanted to watch something, and I was really tired. And I said, okay, fine. Go ahead, but this can't happen often.
So here you can hear the detective ask what prompted Jenn to make the rule of no sleepovers, as they call them, between Maddie and Stefan, which means Maddie wasn't allowed to sleep in Stefan's room. My question is, what made that very important rule fade away? That should be a forever rule without any exceptions. And the part where she mentions the three of them sleeping in the bed together, I mean, I want to die when she says Maddie slept in the middle. I mean, Maddie shouldn't even have been in the bed, but she definitely should not have been in the middle.
I think I can count on one hand how many times that's happened, and it hasn't been many times that I've allowed her to have a supper party with him, to be alone in a bed with him. I'm usually around all the time. Up until 2 weeks ago, you know, I was pretty much at home all the time living on disability. If I wasn't at home,
sometimes I really wonder if Jenn realizes that when she opens her mouth, she makes things so much worse. The fact that she says that Maddie didn't sleep with Stefan a lot alone in his room, and that she was there most of the time because she only recently started working at Disney, and before that she was on disability. I mean, that means you were home. We already know he's been doing this to her for years. So that makes it even worse, because that means you were there. That means it happened while you were in the home.
Murdered her, right? He victimized her. He ruined her entire life from childhood until now. I think that there's probably some sense of guilt. And my fear is that sense of guilt is causing you to not want to assist in the location of her, not because you're a bad person, but because there's that sense of guilt that what was happening under your roof, and now, by her being found, brings that all to your plate, and it doesn't.
oh no. If I knew anything, I would so tell you. I want to even if she's dead, because you guys tell me your suspicions, but I'm not going to believe it until I have her body.
So there are things, and the reason I say these things, and again, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but the reason I say these things is there's been a lot of things you've said, and a lot of things I've kind of researched between the Fox 35 story, between your initial statement to the police. A lot of things have changed. The initial statement to the police was you watched her get dressed, you watched her leave, you knew exactly what she was wearing.
Can I tell you
Absolutely.
my thought process on
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
or where I came from with that? I was handed this form, and I'm like, where do I start? What do I write? And somebody said, tell them what you saw. And so I started with I saw. And then I wrote out what I wrote out. But it wasn't until later I was like, wait, I didn't see her. I assumed that I saw her. I assumed that I heard her. But I didn't. In reality, I didn't see her. I only saw him. And I heard something in the kitchen, but I don't know who that was.
So here the detective comes down on Jenn quite hard, okay, but for good reason. And he's making it known that he's suspicious of her. But he's also playing that psychological game that we often see in interrogations where, you know, he's saying, not that you're a bad person, but maybe you were just carrying all of this guilt. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. And he also grills her on her inconsistencies on her previous statements, okay? And her reasoning for this is just so, like, unbelievable, because she says she didn't know what to write, and the guy there was just saying, just write, I saw, what you saw. And she said that's why she wrote, I saw. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Let me know what you think.
Which we've talked about today. But I guess there's other concerns. Right? You are nervous. The police have showed you their hand. They said, Stefan, we want your phone. Stefan, we want to talk to you. We're going to lock down your residence. You can't go back inside. Me, I don't care if it's the love of my life sitting next to me. I don't care if it's maternal grandma. If the police come and take my mom's phone and my son's disappearance, I'm not going to offer my mom a lawyer. That's nuts to me. That to me shows you prioritizing Stefan. Because at that point, you became more worried about him being falsely accused than any. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Whether or not that's what you felt, does that make sense?
That's what I was saying. That's what I've been saying this whole time. Like, even if there was a 0.000% chance that this guy did it, or like a little bit of a suspicion that he did something to my child, I'm not going to offer that guy a lawyer. And this is not the only place where we've seen Jenn prioritizing Stefan. I mean, she's done it a few times. It's very strange. It makes her look guilty. And remember, she sees the photos of what he's done to her daughter, and then she tells his dad to go get him a lawyer too. So this has been 2 times that she suggested that this man gets a lawyer. Why would she warn him? Why would she want to help him?
I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there? What if somebody took her? I still wanted to believe I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was a good guy still, but clearly he's not. After everything you guys have told me and have shown me, I know he's the worst person on this face of the earth.
We know that now. We know he's a piece of shit now.
You know?
But you didn't know that then.
I didn't.
Then you offered a guy who the police suspected of kidnapping.
This explanation of hers is just like, I mean, really. I don't have words for that. Yeah, he did that, but fine. No, not fine. There's nothing fine about that. That's so not fine. But she's still like, what if someone else took her? What if someone else took Maddie? Even after you saw that. Even after you saw what he's capable of. After seeing that, you still want to believe this person is a good guy? How? This really drives me insane. I really think those detectives just probably wanted to pull the hair out of their heads.
I can tell you that today, we're still downloading his Google Drives. We are still going through his social medias, his cloud-based servers, and everything else. And we can now piece back her victimization in your house under your care to 2020. I believe you've gone as far back as in when she...
Did you hear that? The detective said that they could trace the disgusting things that Stefan was doing to Maddie back to 2020. How this mom is not screaming in anger, shame, and guilt, that's beyond me. I mean, this is keeping me up at night. This upsets me to my core. That little girl suffered in silence for years, and everyone who should have cared failed her. And the detective is really laying it out straight here for Jenn. He's telling her this happened in your home. This happened under your care. He's basically telling her, like, this is your fault. How did you miss this? And you know what I think? And this is just speculation, but I think if she really wasn't involved, if she really had nothing to do with it, then the only explanation for it is that she was abusing her medication often, and that she was taking too many naps, and that she really was extremely neglectful as a mom, and that she didn't watch Maddie the way she was supposed to. And if you think back, if you've listened to her ex-husband Stefan's interview with police, he was saying when they were married, there were times that Jenn would just go, I can't deal with the kids, I'm paraphrasing, and please deal with them. And then he, also not being the biological father of Maddie, had to take her and his daughter, who was almost the same age as Maddie, and he had to take care of them. And if you listen to Maddie's biological father's interview with police, he also mentioned there that he wasn't always happy with how Jenn cared for her. He felt that she was neglectful. I'm also paraphrasing there, but he said something along the lines of that. So I'm thinking a lot of that was happening with Stefan too. She was like, I can't deal. You take care of her. And she would go and sleep. And I'm speculating, once again, this is my opinion. But Stefan was obviously like, of course, yes, I'd love to take care of Maddie because he wanted to do sick and disgusting things to her. That just gave him the perfect opportunity.
Is sincere. I think a lot of it's because I'm being an asshole. I'm telling you things you don't want to hear that shouldn't be said out loud. But when you talk to the news, when you talk to deputies, it feels, based on my experience in this job, that it's not sincere. I feel like some of your sadness is not real sadness. I feel like when you gave the interview with Fox 35, it was not sincere. Looking at that video one time, I didn't feel like your cries were sincere. And I'm not saying that because you're a bad person. I feel like sometimes people struggle to show real emotion when they're aware of what the truth is. So it has to be fake. This is demise for the past, let's say, 5 years, right?
So here he's really coming down hard on her on something we've been calling out all along, her emotions and when she chooses to display them. And I was thinking, I mean, could it be shock? Yes, it could be shock. Could it be denial, disbelief? It could be all of those things together. But unfortunately, if it is that, then she's really she looks guilty. It makes her look guilty. And this detective is even saying, like, in his experience, I mean, he's dealt with this stuff before a lot of times. And in his experience, her reactions are weird. And we've been calling this. I mean, we've been saying this since the first interview.
Listen, that he hadn't shown me anything so far. Like, everything seems fine. Like, he seems like he treated her like
he treats you. In his mind.
It's so disgusting.
So now he's in jail because of what we found on his phone, not because somebody came forward and reported that he.
Yeah, it is disgusting, Jenn. It is extremely disgusting. I can't even fathom it. It's beyond me. But the part where the detective is like, he treated her like he treated you, I was like, oh, that hit hard. That hit really hard, because he's trying to tell Jenn, he's trying to show her that you really missed red flags here. You really failed this little girl.
He's getting what he wants from her, probably from you, and who knows whoever else, right? So it's not like he woke up or went to bed Sunday and he was like, you know what? I'm done with this, but I'm going to kill her. Something happened. People don't just wake up and like, you know what? They leave people, they break up with people, but usually things cause people to snap. Now, what? You know what? And I'm in trouble, or I feel like I'm going to, or him being out. We can go even worse. She's pregnant.
That's what questions last night led me to believe when we started talking about her period.
I was told that her and her friend, and granted, I'm male, never had a period, but that somebody found it weird that they were no longer on the same cycle. Could be different because she's a teenage girl. Could be that she missed her period. Have you ever found a pregnancy test at home that wasn't yours?
I have 2 underneath the bathroom sink, but I haven't seen if they're still there or not.
Okay. But you haven't seen any used ones in the trash?
No.
Their relationship hasn't changed?
No.
Okay. So what do you think happened Sunday? Other than him killing her, what do you think made him snap?
I don't know. Theories, I keep hearing
Tell me your theories, because here's the deal. We don't go home until she's found.
Okay, so this still remains the $1 million question to me, and it's driving me absolutely insane. Please help me out with this. I discussed it a little bit in the previous video that I did on the other Jenn Soto interview, but it's still driving me insane, and I still don't have any answers. So the question is, what upset Stefan so much? What made him snap? Why did he do this? And why did he do this now? And the detective is even saying something had to happen that made him feel that he had to do this. And I 100% agree, because if you think back to Stefan Stern's parents' interview, his dad, Chris, was saying that the Saturday evening before Stefan went to Jenn and Maddie and did what he did, something visibly upset him that Saturday evening, to the point that he went to his dad and asked for anxiety meds, okay? Something visibly upset him. But he wasn't with Jenn and Maddie, and it had to be linked to them. It had to be linked to Maddie. But what did he find out when he was all the way in Northport? Okay, so it must have come over a text, an email, or over some social media platform, or a call. Okay, so I'm thinking if it was a message or an email or anything like that, police would have found it and traced it and linked it and all of that. But what if it was a call? What if they looked at the call logs from Saturday evening? I'm wondering if they would find a call from Maddie around that time. But I'm sure police have already checked that. It's just me wondering, because this is a part that's really bothering me, and I really think it's the key to explaining the motive of why this monster did what he did. And this detective also mentions here about the pregnancy theory, and that's been a theory of mine from the beginning. And my best guess at this moment is that he found out either that Maddie was pregnant, that she was pregnant, or he thought there was a possibility that she was pregnant. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. And I know a lot of people are fixating on the fact that Jenn has pregnancy tests that she keeps in her home. I'm not going to fixate on that, only because I have friends that do that. I personally don't keep pregnancy tests around, but I do have friends that do that. So I don't find that to be so strange. I know that some people do that, so I'm not going to touch on that too much. I obviously do realize that they could be there for sinister reasons, but it could just as easily not be.
But that's the problem. You don't know why. So the reaction in your mind is you are continuously protecting this guy. So why do I sit here and believe that you don't? Because right now you know Stefan killed her. You know Stefan's been raping her. You know without her body, can he be charged with murder?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you don't know what we can do. Do I think we can charge him with murder? It's not up to me. Should he be charged with murder? Yes.
Please.
Does your role in her life lead this to happen? I'll be honest. Yes.
I know.
Since she was a child, since her victimization started, it occurred under your roof and you acted like it didn't exist. And knowing the victimization, knowing how ongoing it is, knowing that you saw a picture of it, not just us telling you, not me and him saying, hey, listen, he's being, I think they had a bad relationship. They showed you a picture of it. And you still protected him. So how am I supposed to not think that the thought process in your mind is until she's found, Stefan can't be charged with murder? Because we both now know that you don't want him to be charged with murder because you want him to have a lawyer.
No, I don't.
Part of the blowjob.
That was then.
He can't be charged with murder.
That was then. Everything that you guys have shown me since then and have shown me that he's
So we had to show you a picture
time.
of her dead in a car for you to finally not take his side? Enough? Do you not see where I'm coming from? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but it makes absolutely no sense that your name is Stefan.
I don't know.
Where does your mind go? Stefan.
Now, this detective is just on point here. He is saying everything I'm thinking, okay? He took the words out of my mouth. Because honestly, that's one of the wildest things out of everything that Jenn has done, and we've gone over it. She sends her daughter to sleep in a room with this person alone, okay? Alone. And then imagine seeing the man that you were in a relationship with doing these things to your daughter on images, seeing photos of that. But then you go and tell his dad to get him a lawyer? Wow. But she goes on to say that in her mind, it was like maybe he did that to her, yes, but maybe she still didn't think he would end her life. I mean, explain that thought process to me, because if he's capable of that, then he's definitely capable of the other. I mean, am I wrong in thinking that? Like, my mind would definitely go, yes, now I understand why he is the main suspect. And once again, I'm just shocked at the lack of tears and emotion here when they are discussing this like really upsetting stuff. But I also have to be fair and mention that she does cry a few times throughout this interview, and some of them are in a few more appropriate times, I'd say. But I didn't include them here because that just wasn't like such an important part of the interview to me, at least. But I will upload the whole thing so that you can watch it without any commentary, and you can watch it in your own time should you want to. So you can look out for that. I will upload it to the channel.
Photos that you showed me where you're saying she's dead, maybe she was drugged. But if she is dead and it was done upstairs, I could just only imagine that he choked her. I don't know how else you would kill someone and not leave a mess.
How do you think he got her out?
I have no idea, because roommates come in and out of the house at any given point in the morning and we don't know their schedules. They can come in at any time.
She pretty much called that. She was spot on. And listen, I understand how you could easily come to the conclusion with how everything played out. So, I mean, the fact that she guessed that is probably not so weird, but you cannot deny that she was really on point with that guess. And it is just a little suspicious because we all know now how Maddie lost her life.
Do you currently know, or have you ever been aware of where his body has been since Monday?
No.
Did you have any?
No.
Were you aware at any time, whether it be the most recent instance or the first instance, victimization sexually by Stefan?
No.
Okay. At this time, you do not know where Stefan went on 192?
I don't.
You do not know where he went in Northport?
I do not.
And you have at no time this week in any conversations with Stefan where he disclosed what he did?
No.
Okay. The story that we talked about of what at one point we discussed that she could potentially have been in a trunk on the way to Northport.
Yeah.
Is that information you know to be true or an assumption?
An assumption.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us before we go check on the phone in the car? We may not be able to answer everything, but if you have questions, we can see if we can answer those questions.
So I wanted to play that last clip for you so that you could hear it from Jenn Soto herself. Yeah, again, she says she had no involvement. She had nothing to do with the essay. She didn't know about that, even though it happened in her home, under her nose. She didn't know about that. And she also said she had no involvement. She didn't know where Maddie was and all of that. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Is she guilty? Is she not guilty? I always enjoy hearing what you have to say. And I loved your comments in the last video of Jenn Soto. You gave me new ideas. You gave me new theories, and you're keeping me on my toes. And I just love it. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the support. But other than that, I'm going to say good night, and I will see you in the next one.